All right, I'd like to call to order this planning and zoning meeting for March 26, 2024. The time is 6 p.m. Before we get started, I do just want to mention that item 7E has been withdrawn from the agenda. So we will not be speaking on that one tonight. Miranda, can I get a roll call, please?
Commission Member Mormon.
Here.
Rucci. Here. Ferris.
Here.
Boardman. Here. Darling.
Here.
Stecker.
Here.
Vice.
Here.
Nate. And Piper.
Here.
All right, item 3A would be approval of the agenda. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion. Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, same sign. Okay, next we have the approval of the meeting minutes for the February 27th, 2024 meeting. Would anyone like to make a motion to minutes?
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes, February 27th.
In a second.
Second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, same sign. All right, next we have item 5, which would be public comment. This would be for anyone in the audience that is here to speak on something that is not an agenda item. Do I have anyone here for that? Okay. Looks like we don't currently have any old business, so we'll move on to new business. Item 7A, consider approval of a plat of survey request for Schoolyard Development LLC for the property addressed at 1602 East 2nd Avenue.
So Schoolyard Development LLC has submitted a plat of survey request for property address in 1602 East 2nd Avenue. The split would result in parcel D, a little less than an acre lot developable for a commercial type use. This shows the proposed plat of survey. The plat does show a future 30-foot landscape buffer easement along the north property line, which is generally around here. The parcel to the north, there is an active site plan application which will be heard as agenda item 7B, but this one is just strictly for the plat of survey. Uses for the proposed lot are speculative. There isn't anything, at least that staff is aware, that is proposed to be on this lot. The left portion shows the future land use map and the right shows the current zoning of the subject property. As you can see that the future land use map does show that the parcel would be medium to high density residential. The parcel as it is right now is split zoned. So the area to the north is zoned as R2, single family residential attached. And then the portion that's part of the plat of survey request is zoned for C2 highway commercial zoning. Staff is recommending approval of the request, and if there's any questions or comments.
Thank you. Do I have anyone in the audience that's here to speak on this item? Do I have any questions or comments from the commission? Would anyone like to make a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion to approve as submitted.
Thank you. And can I get a second?
A second.
Thank you. Miranda, roll call vote.
Rucci.
Yes.
Ferris.
Here. Yes.
Boardman.
Yes.
Darling. Yes. Stecker.
Yes.
Vice.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
And Marmon.
Yes. All right, we'll move on to 7B, consider recommendation on a major site plan application for townhouse dwellings at 1602 East 2nd Avenue.
So the subject property is located at 1602 East 2nd Avenue. The applicant Schoolyard Townhomes LLC is requesting a major site plan approval for the site to allow for 4 bi-attached horizontal residential buildings, which is just a fancy way to say townhomes. The request would allow for 52 residential units at a density of 9.25 residential units per acre. This just provides a general overview of the site plan, which shows again that 4 bi-attached townhomes. So here's 1, 2, and then 3, 4. As it relates to parking, the plan is showing additional parking spaces than required to accommodate for visitors on site. Zooming in, this just shows one of the 4 buildings that are proposed. And then this shows 1 unit within that building. There is a landscaped lawn outdoor area that's shown between the 4 structures. So this is one side, and then it continues on to the other set of buildings. Each unit is also accounting for a porch and patio space as is required by code. The following shows architectural drawings that was submitted to the department. The plans meet minimum building design requirements, including accounting for variations in wall planes, as well as building materials, colors, showing that each of the units are distinguished. Staff is recommending that the plan be approved with conditions. Those conditions are that any areas of issues and concerns with the stormwater management plan must be addressed prior to construction. And then there is a presentation too from the applicant that they would like to share too, and I'll just flip over to that unless we have questions for staff.
What's the second alphabet soup there? SWPP.
Stormwater pollution prevention plan. I can speak to that. Yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
I'm Jeff Nesbitt, civil engineer, for the project, CDA, address here, 4121 Northwest Urbandale Drive, Urbandale. There was just a handful of comments remaining on that just for, minor details in the stormwater management plan and the pollution plan. I've already had conversations with Jerry Stelber on those, and we've reconciled all those and had updated plans sent in already. So I'm here if you have any questions as well.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Abby Gilroy and I'm with the Schoolyard Development Group. And so I wanted to just introduce myself. I've got Josh Jensen from our team as well. He'll be our builder on the project. And I just wanted to, I guess they gave a great overview on the site plan itself, but this is a site that we came across probably 2 years ago, just driving around the community and through the community and started working with that property owner. It took us about 18 months to get that under contract. They had plans for a couple of years to do a redevelopment here and it just never got any traction. So we went ahead and started working on the site plan with your staff. We applied for some workforce housing tax credits through the state, which we were successful in obtaining last year. So that really kind of got us over the hump to move the project forward. So our group, we've got units in communities just like Indianola. We're in Grinnell, Perry, Osceola, and Van Meter as well. We really focus on communities around the core of Des Moines, where there's a strong workforce, where there's an anchor, really where there's a lot of reinvestment in population growth going on. So Indianola was just a perfect next step for us. So we were excited to come across this and put the deal together. Our timing is we would like to start as soon as weather allows. So you'll see some dirt moving here in the next couple of months. That commercial lot, we are working with some brokers on a potential drive-through use there. So think a drive-through coffee kiosk or donuts or ice cream, that sort of thing is really what we're shooting for there. Something that will accommodate, the housing that we're doing, but also serve the high school students, middle school, if you're going to baseball games, whatever. So there's plenty of activity around this area and I think we'll be successful with that. You can go down to the next slide. I just wanted to show you elevations of the project and what you should expect to see there. We went with a single story. We did this in Grinnell and we're really successful with that. We think there's just a lot of people. This really can accommodate anyone of all ages and all backgrounds and all workforce. So we do have 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units here. So we hope to accommodate anyone that comes along. And those units range from 890 square feet all the way to 1,400 square feet. So they really can accommodate a young family if that's what the need is. But also those who are wanting to stay in the community and move into something a little more simpler to live in without yard work and snow removal. So you can keep going through the slides. Everyone has their own individual entrance. There are no common corridors. There's plenty of parking to accommodate everybody. So yeah, it's just a nice private setting. It feels like your own townhome and they are all rental products. And then I just threw in the site plans or the floor plans, excuse me, so you could see how those lay out, we give a plethora of living space so people aren't feeling cramped. They have nice bedrooms, walk-in closets. We have 2-bed, 2-bath units, and then we have 3-bed, 2-bath units with private patios. So you can see they lay out beautifully. They're all higher end finishes, so you'll have quartz countertops and stainless appliances and things like that. So we come in, we do a good product, we self-manage everything, so we are in control day in and day out of the properties. So if there's ever an issue, you know who to call. But yeah, we're just a smaller group trying to provide housing to a workforce in our smaller communities, so or growing communities, I should say. Any questions for me or the development group?
Okay, so they're single story,
Yes.
no basements,
No basements. They're just a rental.
all outdoor parking.
Mhm.
Okay.
Correct, yeah.
Play areas for children.
There is a park situation. Do you have a site plan? There's a trail connection and you get this map about, I'm not sure where that ended up. It's out at the north.
Grading. Which one do you want to see?
Well, there's this trail connection right there. Isn't that what we ended up with, Josh? Was just a connection to that
There you go.
trail?
Got some other look
Space between the buildings.
Yeah, it's the green space. Yeah. There's no physical like play set or play area. I thought we were doing something in that north corner. Actually not.
That's where the stormwater basin is, isn't
It
it?
is, but that trail's up there and I just wanted sort of connection. Our sidewalk does connect to it.
To the trail on the north side of the drainage.
Should be detention basin.
See that other plan that was right? Oh, there it is. I see it. Oh, I don't know if you can go up to the screening point where that's gonna connect.
So the trail on the west side of.
Yeah, 'cause it's that McFay that goes all the way through.
So the trail the sidewalk will continue up and connect into the. trail.
Okay, so that's how we're doing it. Okay.
So
Yeah, but there
is-
is no play.
There is no
on-site
play.
area, but there's a connection to the public
Yeah.
trail system.
Really the best we could do.
Emerson's close.
Just a lot of
Huh?
concern and liability.
Emerson's probably the closest. Jump on the trail. Go over to Emerson.
It's just not something we've managed before or operated with playgrounds and such. Unfortunately, it's just not.
Figure two.
And also
Yes.
if we, I don't know if you can go back to that area that was in the show in that PDF document. That was there. I mean, there is a strip of green space in between all of the units there.
Yeah, they'll
Um,
have,
So we kind of looked at that as well too, and obviously, as you know, Al, we don't have any codes necessarily in place yet. We're still working on those as far as parkland and stuff like that. That would be required, but I think from our standpoint, we kind of looked at that and I think why this is different than some of the other developments we have in town is that there is that area kind of
Yeah,
so
so
each
in
one
between
have a
there
little
where
yard.
you know, children can kind of play outside of the
Yes.
parking
Okay.
lot, not in the detention basin.
How
This-
wide is that?
show you this.
The dimension between the buildings.
Yeah,
And each one also, just so you know, right outside their front door, there are these little pods of green space and grass next to their patios. So they will have a little bit of yard space.
The dimension between the two buildings, it's minimum 30 feet. In some instances, it's gonna be farther, let's say, but there's a 30-foot space between the two of them.
that's gonna be a green space, no plantings in it or anything.
We show trees and shrubs on this landscape plan.
Do you have the landscape plan available?
We have blue spruce, white.
That would help.
pine. Yeah, it would. Flowering plum, locust, red oak, a lot of boxwoods, junipers, dogwoods.
Well, there will be plantings in
Yeah,
interior.
we'll show you this landscape plan. It's pretty
Landscape up.
robust.
Sorry to put you on the spot, Emily.
You could pass this around if you'd rather. You
Yeah.
can just pass it down to. Any other questions or concerns for us?
For our staff? Is there anything in the community that's comparable that you might compare this to? You can get an idea of what we're looking.
Not that I can think of right off the top of my head. I don't know if you've seen anything comparable in the community at all either.
No, that's why we're doing it. You know, there's your 3 and 4 story, you know, multi-unit type offerings out there, but we really want to offer something different and we've been successful with that. Just kind of gives everybody their own living space.
You mentioned
Mhm.
Grinnell. Is that
Yeah.
up and running and occupied?
Yes.
Is it something that there's pictures online that Emily could?
Yes,
for us?
I think if you go to Grinnell Promenade, what is it? RowanReed.com. No, because
You want it.
Have a subscription. It's just, it fills so quickly, we don't advertise it online, it's just if someone's leaving, it's already full, I mean, it's just, so I haven't, let me just see if I can. And even then, I think it's just our renderings.
Is it on the east side?
I will send that though, can I send it to Charlie and you distribute photos, cause I have them on my server?
The hospital, it's right across the street.
Okay.
Right across the street from the hospital. But yeah, and even
Is
in,
it on Street View at all? If-
yeah,
might be.
that, it's 802.
You're just trying to get a feel for.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're beautiful. 802 Reed, REED,
What
Street,
look like.
Grinnell. I'll check our website and see, because I think it's just rendering. Yeah, so, and this is a little bit different elevation. On the other side, it kind of shows you what the elevation you're seeing here, which would actually face the street in this scenario, so. But these, we had 1 day of showings on March 5th of 2021, and they filled that day. It was just wild. Osceola was that way for us too. I mean, there's just such a built up.
Yeah, it is.
you have an on-site manager then?
Not on site, no. No, we're in Des Moines. So each week we make our rounds to every property. So Mondays is kind of Perry Van Meter, and then we come down to Osceola, we hit Indianola that day, and then we hit Grinnell on days. But we there's 3 of us, and it's pretty nimble. We can respond pretty quickly, and we do. So we want them to, be around for a long time and in good condition. So happy tenants and happy landlord.
What are your like typical, is it like 12, 18 months or?
Oh, lease time?
Yeah.
Yeah, 12 months. We have a lot of folks that just renew and stay. We have some that have been with us the full 3 years that they've been open. So, 12 months is typically. We also in, Van Meter, some people might be building a home, that sort of thing. So we do work with them on a 9 or 10 month lease. We're going to work with whoever, but we're pretty flexible.
Are any of these units like Section 8 or assistant?
These are all going to be market rent units. Yeah, we didn't have any subsidies here. Just the workforce housing and.
Is that a unit there that says the row on rate? Is it like a community space or is that another unit?
No, that's
itself?
actually a unit. Yep, they're just facing their doors on the
Turn around.
side. Mhm. And like I said, finishes, it's all kind of an LVT flooring, carpet in the bedrooms, and then all quartz counters in the kitchen and bathrooms, full vanities. All appliances, dishwasher, microwave. All the things.
Is there plans to do like 1 unit, 2 units, all 4? I mean, obviously in succession, but is it a full 4 unit plan?
Yes,
Okay.
right now we're just gonna move forward. Our original plan was just 2 buildings, 26 units. But we've just had enough interest amongst the investment group to just do all of them. So I am going to submit for another 26 units to the state this spring and see if they'll go for another 26, but it's worth a shot, we figure. See what they'll do. But there hasn't been a lot of, applications for permit for housing here, and there's a demand. So the state was really supportive of us doing something here. And you all know it's been sitting there for a while. I think it's just time to make it happen, so.
I see that there's a comment about traffic that you received that's noted in here. Is there any- Is that okay, traffic wise, with 2 outlets on the 15th?
Yep, no, our public works directors reviewed this. I know initially the one access coming in on 15th was right dead in the middle right there, and we had them shifted to align with First Street that's across the street there because we want those alignment of intersections on there. So yeah, that's why that's kind of offset a little bit. It looks a little bit funny on here, but I think when you see it physically be implemented, it'll make a lot more sense.
Yeah, it does. And the 30-foot strip between the commercial and this is
A
what?
landscape.
Landscape buffer that's required, in commercial and residential.
There's no plans to connect any sort of paving to the south at all, correct? To the commercial parcel?
I don't know that topography allows us to do that.
Yeah, the grading lies in there. It's a significant install. Even the existing lot on the southeast side there has a retaining wall on the north face
That's right,
so,
that's a big. burn.
yeah. So it just won't be accessible that way.
So there's nothing for traffic on 15th Street going on to 92 there, nothing.
Yeah, there was no concerns posed by Public Works Department on it, just based off the, I think, the sheer number of units and what the road is designed to do. I mean, I'm assuming that road is a collector road, just the amount of traffic it sees right now, so.
Seen a little bit more with Iowa being.
Yeah,
Hillcrest been shut
our Hillcrest
down now.
being closed, yeah, there's been a shift in traffic all over the city, I know with that, but hopefully that is all wrapped up here this summer, so.
So question on the west side. Where you've got a creek between, just knowing that landscape, you've got kind of a creek between the baseball field, softball field and this development. And abundance of trees along there. Is there plans to keep the existing trees? What's the?
Yeah, I'll let you,
plans on that?
I'll let him speak to that because we had to work out a agreement with the school, correct?
Yes, yeah, some of the grading wise through there is once again kind of just the topography of how that kind of site sits in a bowl and everything. We've had discussions with the school and everything that they are open to us having some grading operations into their hillside to not make that hill or that whole west side essentially be one long wall or something. But we are adding additional, landscaping on the west side there for portions of the area that are going to be disturbed within it. We don't envision there being taking out all the trees and everything in that instance.
I'm just curious because I mean, within those trees, that creek, everything, I mean, you're gonna get some baseballs.
No, I totally,
Hey, that means the team's good, right?
that's a good point, that's a good point.
But I mean, you've got
Yeah.
a concern of
No.
tenant parking or,
Good
yeah,
point.
parking,
It's a good point.
vehicles,
learned that in my
stuff like
day.
that. And so I'm like, okay, what's your barricade to
Mhm.
keep
Yeah.
that from happening if you're gonna eliminate trees?
Okay, that's a good point. We'll look at that mitigation plan and just make sure that,
Parking stalls furthest away, and we kept the drive aisle closer.
yeah, so
Okay.
hopefully,
So there is.
Address that as well.
Okay.
So
that's
is
a
that,
great point though,
It'd be a shot. It's a shot, but it's,
but it can happen.
we've seen it,
Yeah,
so.
that's good. That's real good.
so is that drainage way gonna remain open or are you gonna put it underground?
No, everything on the west side will still be open channel flow.
Into this
It'll all,
retention basin?
so
It drain into that retention basin?
nothing from offsite on the west will come into our detention basin. Everything offsite, it'll just go into the creek system on the north side.
So the detention basin is just gonna.
On-site.
contain water off your.
On-site only, just
Yeah.
collecting all the newly impervious areas that aren't there at this time and just restricting the flow.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions from the commission? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate your time.
Would anybody like to make a motion on this? Oh, yes. Do I have anyone else from the public that's here to speak on this item?
I have a question.
Sure. Could you step up to the
guess.
podium and just state your name and address?
I live at 1806 East Second, right across the street. Dan Hiller's my name. I did have a question about the traffic. You've addressed that a little bit. That is a major shortcut through town. Maybe you're not aware of that, but it's rush hour there in the afternoons, and I'm seeing upwards of 100 more vehicles there, 52 units. Everybody has two cars, maybe not everybody, but quite a bit of traffic. Question I had, apparently you've already looked that over. So it's not a concern, but it will be more traffic there in a short space in a short amount of time. Rush hours 4 to 6 every day coming up 15th Street. Question I had for you people is if you're actually filling the lot in. Pictures you showed of Grinnell was street level, but obviously the old trailer court's down in a hole there. That's all I got. Thank you.
Let's say,
Thank you.
we don't have any bringing in any. That's
Okay.
all. Say,
So it will sit.
yeah, everything on the site, let's say, dirt will be moved around, let's say, to make sure that, you know, everything in there works. But it's gonna balance on site with everything that we're doing. We're not bringing any offsite dirt or any infill to the property.
They hold dirty in there for
Yeah, there's
all of
dirt
last
being
week.
hauled in.
Well, I'd say there's, I'd say that's just, say, was it just, what was the deal with that one, Josh? You know, was it just somebody had extra dirt? That
Dirt that was available. There's a little bit of a cut fill difference, depends on what shrink factor.
we're using?
you
Okay.
use. So,
Okay.
but no, it's not gonna be.
Yeah, you're not raising the buildings up to street level.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else here who would like to speak on this item or comment on it?
One last question. This the only time we'll see this?
Yes. Right. Unless there's any amendments or anything like that, but yes.
Unless council does something or, but other than that, this is it.
Yep, so if it moves forward from P and Z tonight, it will go to council on Monday night, next Monday night, April 1st, yes. And from there, then they would be able to kind of get started. They'd have to do building permitting and everything like that through us, but that's all administrative.
Okay, thank you.
Would anyone like to make a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion to approve with conditions. Read them. Any areas of issues, concerns with the SWMP and SWPPP must be addressed prior to construction. I'll second.
Thank you. And the roll call vote, please.
Piper,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Decker,
Yes.
Darling. Yes. Waterman. Yes. Ferris,
Yes.
Ritchie. Yes. And Marmon.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to item 7C, consider approval of a plat of survey request for Axel Johnston for property address as 510 East Euclid Avenue.
For Axel Johnson of Beck Engineering has submitted a plat of survey application on behalf of Vanderpool Plumbing and Heating and Brandy Werner. The plat of survey request is a boundary survey outlining and correcting the legal description for the property. Then this shows that property in question. Just like highlight it over here. So again, it just makes corrections to the legal description. I know right now on Beacon, it's showing the part of the trail is part of the property, but that's not, that's being corrected through this plat of survey. Staff is recommending that the request be approved as submitted.
Would you like to speak on this item?
No, not, you're gonna approve it, you said? I can't hear.
Maybe.
I didn't hear what she said.
Oh, sure. Do I have questions from commission on this item?
Other than it's wrong in the minutes. There's a wrong photograph in there
It's the
and
same.
the wrong write-up.
Oh.
On page 66.
Go to the.
Yeah.
It's the item we just dealt with.
We're just testing you to make sure you're not ready.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Would anyone like to make a motion on this item?
I move we approve it as recommended by staff.
I'll second that.
All right, roll call vote, please.
Richie. Yes. Ferris.
Yes.
Waterman. Yes. Darling. Yes. Stecker.
Yes.
Vice.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
Marmon.
You get that?
And now it's approved.
There's the door. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I gotta go out this way. You can go either way.
There's a lot of doors to choose from.
All right, we'll move on to item 7D. Consider recommendation on a waiver of sidewalk requirement and installation covenant for natural physical conditions or limitations at 1305 West Second Avenue.
So an item that the Planning and Zoning Commission doesn't normally review, because we don't get too many of them. But Indianola Properties LLC have requested a waiver of sidewalk requirement and installation covenant for physical conditions at 1305 West Second Avenue. Some history on this one, back in 2004, there was a sidewalk waiver that was approved by the city council along the South K Street side of this property, as there was no curb and gutter present on this section of road. However, I'm sure everybody's aware, we are undertaking a paving project along South K Street. And specifically along this portion of South K Street, there will be curb and gutter installed, which would then require the sidewalk to be installed on the property from that first requirement. So looking at, there's two pictures that are shown on there, and I kind of put a red line in between them, but the first one just shows an overall view of the property. And if you look then on the right-hand side, you can see there is currently a sidewalk along West Second Avenue, Highway 92. But there is no sidewalk along the South K Street side. As the South K Street paving project is not going to include any sidewalks alongside it. So if they were forced to put a sidewalk alongside this curb, essentially that sidewalk would go to nowhere. Which is where the kind of the unreasonableness of the regulation comes into effect there. So what we did is through some negotiations with the Benells on some right-of-way acquisition that we needed. We agreed from staff standpoint to go through the waiver process. And the proposed agreement would trigger a sidewalk to connect to Highway 92 if any portion of the property south of that existing building along 92 were to be developed. So you can see that kind of long and narrow property, there is a lot of vacant ground on there. So if there was ever a future commercial use that went south of that building, then the Benells would be required to at least have a sidewalk connecting up to Highway 92 between that existing sidewalk and the new business, so.
South of there, it gets real challenging.
Yes, so there is a lot of steep grade drop off ravine through there. The South K paving project that we looked at initially was upwards of $9 million. Council cut it back quite a bit, removed the sidewalk on that side of the street to try to save some money on that. Got that price tag down quite a bit, but essentially a street's a gravel road. It is just going to be paved as a rural cross section rather than an urban cross section moving forward. But I think the main issue is the gravel and the gravel dust in that area, and I think we're still successfully fixing that issue.
So I'm assuming that both parcels are owned by the same.
Yep.
If that was to be split, would it be a joint?
Yep, so the waiver is gonna go with the land and all of that, so the covenant will go with the land as well too, and it'll apply to anything that gets developed south of there.
Do we have any other questions?
Would it just be that one side of the street then that we're, if anything, right? Like
Yep.
nothing
Yep,
on
on
the
this one,
east?
yep.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that the request be approved as submitted.
Darling? Yes. Stecker?
Yes.
Vice?
Yes.
Piper?
Yes.
Waterman? Yes. Ferris?
Yes.
Richie? Yes. And Marmon?
Yes. Right, and then on to item 8A, building permit report.
Just really quick summary on that. I think we're sitting pretty good already for the two slowest months of the year, which are always January and February, we're at about 5.5 million evaluation coming in, 13 total permits, 5 new single family houses. And I know we have the one non-residential building that's 3.7 million. And I'm looking at Miranda, I'm not even sure which one that is. Do you know what that is? I could probably look, but we can get that for you. But if there's any other questions on the building permit report, happy to answer them. I apologize for not knowing that one, and the second you say it, I'm gonna go, yes.
Is that Stern?
Yeah, we're really curious.
Oh, it's loading.
Is it Sternquist? It might be Sternquist.
Commercial building is Jensen Builders.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a string.
Good job, Al.
All right, item 8B, current projects.
And I'll defer some of this to Emily too, if she wants to add anything, but I think we're sitting pretty good. The Picker Park industrial plat that was supposed to be on your agenda this evening, that did get removed. Currently a holdup with the DOT on that one. We're working through some things with them. Coincidentally enough, same thing with Emerald Bay. There's just some approvals through the DOT since they're on state highways that we're having to work through. Deer Run preliminary plat, we're getting pretty close to bringing that to commission. I think we're waiting on the traffic study on that one. Just based on the public comment we had through that process initially, we think it's gonna be very premature to bring that forward without a traffic study. So we're waiting on that and to get some feedback on that first. But other than that, I think a pretty good year on the horizon with what we have in the queue right now. I know some existing developments that had been approved in the past, like Ashton Park, the remainder of that on Euclid and almost 20th out there. They're finishing some underground work on that. I know they're out there working right now. So that's good. We're starting to see some of these residential developments that really were put on hold last year for various reasons kind of getting restarted this year. So we're excited for that. But any questions from the commission on anything? Happy to answer it.
Any more car washes coming to town?
Car washes, coffee shops, no.
More agencies.
Yeah, I don't know. We've issued a temp CO on that car wash, temporary CO, because there's a few things. I know there's some screening that they have left to do on the roof just because of some of the mechanical stacks they have on there, and then the landscaping hasn't been done yet either, but I think they're just kind of waiting for weather to improve before that. But from our standpoint, city standpoint, they're ready to open just at this point, but they're close, it seems like.
Awesome. We can move to item 8C, introduction to planning and zoning training, Iowa State University Extension and Outreach.
I know Emily has reached out to everybody on that, and I know we have a few people here signed up for that. I think we actually got everybody signed up just here this afternoon officially, but we can still sign up more people if anybody is interested in going, so just let us know.
The same one as the was here.
Yeah, there might be some different things in it, I don't know, but typically it's the same subject matter from year to years.
Would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
In a second. Meeting adjourned.
Sure.